Hi, everybody, and welcome in to GC Live here on Gamecock Central. Jack Veltri and Kendall Smith joining you here on this lovely Wednesday afternoon. We hope that you are all doing well, that you've had a great week so far, and we hope that you're ready to talk some South Carolina football. Last week, we took a quick pause from the football talk. Let's talk about some other sports. Obviously, we talked a lot of baseball, but now we are back into football for this week because a lot of news has broken over this last week. Some good, some bad. There's certainly a lot to discuss here today, Jack, but how has your week been? It's been hectic, I'm sure, between baseball, basketball, and football press conferences and football news breaking. There's just a lot going on, so I'm hoping you've been able to catch your breath a little bit.
It has been a lot this week because I was at baseball over the weekend. We had football press conference yesterday with Shane Beamer that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. I literally just got back about an hour ago from football newcomer media availability, so they'll have guys set up at tables and we're going around talking to them for like 45 minutes. So that was good. But yeah, basketball last night. So this is crossover season at its finest, and spring football gets going next week. So it's, I'm kind of not really plugged in on the football stuff right now, but we're gonna have to be here in the next few weeks. So.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it a lot here today because, as we all know, we're going to talk about Jacarrius Peak, his injury that happened in the basketball tournament that South Carolina was having. Shane Beamer actually spoke on that, which is pretty rare of him, especially in the offseason, to come out and just say straight away, hey, this is what happened. But he went into a pretty lengthy statement about Peak. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Again, we'll talk about some of those newcomers. Matthew Smiley coming into South Carolina, taking over the special teams coordinator role. Jack, as a Buffalo Bills fan, I'm curious to hear your take on all of this. But let's start with some news that actually came out earlier today, I believe. South Carolina will be holding a Spring Fest, which is really exciting. That's the name, right? A Spring Fest?
Yeah. Spring Fest. So
no
spring game. And that's for obvious reasons because you got Williams-Brice under renovations right now. Like I passed by the stadium today, and it's a construction zone over there. Like, there is just no reason to have a spring game, I think, at the stadium. Would it be nice? Yes. Do I think people prefer a spring game? Yes. But to sacrifice it for getting the stadium ready for the season to come, I think is a necessary evil in this case. And you're replacing it with something that I think is going to be very cool for the fans. So April 11th, it is a Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So it's right at the end of spring practice. There's going to be a concert at Colonial Life Arena. Darius Rucker is the headliner for that concert. And then Lauren Elena, another country singer, will be performing as well. And there's a block party going on from like 1 to I think like 6 when the doors open for the concert. And there's going to be like a meet and greet with the football team. So it's not ideal to not have a game, but if there was ever going to be any alternative, I think we talked about a few weeks ago, Kendall, like some sort of fan fest would be a nice alternative for sure. And then, having this on top of it with Darius Rucker performing, it's a nice cherry on top. So I'm looking forward to seeing how all that looks. But yeah, no spring game. I mean, for me, we don't really learn a ton from this game because it's very vanilla what South Carolina is doing on offense, defense, and special teams. But I know for the fans, it's probably a mixed reaction. But I think having this event is a nice placeholder for the time being.
Yeah, I'm glad that they did something. I'll be totally honest with all of you. This is my hot take about the spring game. I think it is so boring. I couldn't stand it when I was with Gamecock Central living in Columbia. Going to the game, I just thought it was the most boring thing in the world. Now, I understand, like, getting to be back at Williams-Brice Stadium, stepping foot, getting to see the team on the field. There is something about that that's really cool. And for me, I will admit, like, it was exciting to see them out there because I'm like, all right, I'm ready for football season. Let's go. But if you've experienced Williams-Brice Stadium in full force during a game day, and then you go to the spring game and you see what they're doing, and like you said, Jack, it's kind of bland, it's boring, it's nothing really exciting. They don't want to give away all their tricks in the spring game for people to be able to turn on the TV and see what they're doing. And then they get into certain competitions and drills, and you're kind of watching it, and you're like, like this is really boring. But that's just my perspective on it.
Some people enjoy it, though. That's
like it. Some people do enjoy it, and I totally get it. So I will say, yes, I think that every year you should have a spring game. It gets people excited. It is a great thing to have people back in Williams-Brice Stadium. My personal take is I didn't find it to be the most intriguing thing in the world. You don't learn a ton, like you mentioned, but I understand why people would enjoy it. You get to tailgate, whatever. But I do think it's good, though it is not a full replacement. It is good South Carolina is doing something. Lauren Elena will be there as well. So Darius Rucker always coming in clutch for South Carolina. I remember when we were there, what were we, juniors?
Yeah, there was
South Carolina women's basketball won the national championship, and Darius did the free concert for all the students, and that was awesome. That was like one of my favorite nights at South Carolina as a student. It was great.
The one thing I did notice, though, is that it does not seem like this is a free concert. So this is going to be
this is not free, but he did it free for the students.
Yeah. So like you gotta pay for this stuff, and I think we have a story up on Gamecock Central with the press release info. So I think there's some general info about when tickets are going to start releasing and stuff. I think it's like at the beginning of March. But look, I think this was there was never going to be a solution that would make everyone happy, right? Because it's not as easy as saying, like, let's go plop down and have a spring game at the practice facility or somewhere else, like a college nearby or a high school. It's just not that simple. And honestly, for the team, they're still going to scrimmage. We're just not going to see it, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to be in the indoor facility. And honestly, I'm sure the coaches are probably like, okay, good. We don't have to come up with some vanilla game plan for the public to see. We can just do our own scrimmages and run the plays that we're going to run during the season, get it implemented, installed behind closed doors. So I think from a team standpoint, it doesn't really matter each way. But I think for the fans, the fans are the ones that lose out in this mm-hmm. case. But I think given the situation, it makes sense. And I think South Carolina, it feels like one of the few times, has actually done a real nice job of coming up with a good solution to a rather tricky situation, I'd say.
Well, we did hear that they are talking to Jack's agents about being the opener for this concert.
Yeah.
You all updated on that one?
Me and Kendall will sing karaoke. How's that sound? We'll do like Wagon Wheel or something.
They don't want me, Jack. They just want you.
They should want us. They should want. If you're getting one half of GC Live, you should easily get the other. So
maybe we're a package deal. I don't know. We'll have to see what they say. We're currently working through negotiations right now, everybody. So just stay tuned. Okay, let's get to the topic I think a lot of people just want to talk about right now, and that's Jacarrius Peak. He obviously is dealing with an injury, and it happened during a little basketball tournament that South Carolina was having between the football team last week. And I mentioned it at the top of the show. Shane Beamer spoke on that at his press conference, introducing Matthew Smiley, which is not really a common thing for Shane Beamer to do, to talk about injuries like that. But this was all over the place. And the second that the news kind of got out and there was a little bit of hearsay about this potential injury, it was all over my X feed. And it was the only thing I was seeing from so many fans. And, rightfully so, because Peak is the headline guy of South Carolina's transfer portal class. When you look at that class and you look at all that South Carolina did, he is the guy that comes to most people's minds first when you think about impact players. Shane Beamer said they fully expect him to be ready by September. He will not be a part of spring practices in terms of what he can do from a physical standpoint, and then summer as well. So if you look at it as a fan, and I get this, right? Like, I totally understand. You say to yourself, why was South Carolina playing basketball? Why was it 3-on-3? South Carolina was playing a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Why are these athletes, again, that people are paying money for and you have contracts with, why are they playing in these basketball tournaments? Bless you. risking injury. And Shane Beamer actually had a response to that. Jack, you good?
Yes. So
Okay.
I'm good. I got my sneeze. I might have one more. It's always sneezes are always in the threes. So
Yeah, has to be.
if I do sneeze again, apologies. All right. So this statement right here from Big Rooster. If you're going to pay close to $1 million for a peak, why in the heck would you allow him to play a tournament basketball game? All right. So let's provide some context. Number one. The USC has done this basketball tournament for a few years now, right? They also do other activities. They've done beach volleyball. They've done wiffle ball.
Dodgeball.
To our knowledge, I don't believe anyone's ever, I think, and Shane even mentioned it yesterday, speaking to us, nobody's ever gotten hurt during one of these events. How did he get hurt? We don't know exactly. It happened during basketball. We know that. Was he going up for a dunk and just landed wrong? I don't know. We don't know for sure on that end. But we do know the injury did happen during the game. So I understand this sentiment. However, and I have not gone back yet and looked, nor do I really plan on it, but I would almost guarantee go back to any of the past years where South Carolina's had this basketball tournament. They always post about it on their social media. Look at the comments. I'm sure everyone's like, wow, that's so cool. Like our guys are playing basketball. Like, look at that guy. He's going to make a good shot. He's doing a dunk. He's doing this. I am sure there were zero complaints about why is South Carolina playing basketball. Of course, now that the prized transfer portal pickup gets hurt during one of these said basketball games, it's all hoopla now. And it's like, why is South Carolina playing basketball? Why are they doing all these things? I understand that, but it's very hypocritical, I think, number one. So, look, I don't think that just because this injury happened in basketball, it could literally happen anywhere, right? And even if you stop playing this basketball tournament, guys are still going to go out there, and you don't think these guys are still going to be out there playing on a basketball hoop during the off season? Like, no, like you can't. That's not going to change anything. So I think the fact that this just happened during one of these little tournaments, it's a freak thing, and it's unfortunate. But I don't think we necessarily need to be going out here blaming Shane Beamer and putting the blame on him just because a guy gets hurt during this event. It hasn't happened before, and even he mentioned it. This will probably not be the last injury that South Carolina suffers this year. And the fortunate part is that it's not like he's missing the entire season, right? According to Beamer, like he's going to be good to go by the time September gets here. What does that mean exactly? We'll find out what game he's ready for, but you don't need him for the first two games of the year, maybe the Mississippi State game as well. South Carolina should be able to go 3-0 in those first 3 weeks with or without Jacarrius Peak. But yeah, I just don't. I don't think Shane necessarily calling out the fans essentially by saying what I'm saying right now was necessarily the like, I don't know. It just came off as like, did he really need to say all that? Like that, he's defending his actions. Like, no, like all you got to say is like, look, we've had this basketball tournament for a few years. A guy got hurt. It's unfortunate. The good news is he's not going to miss the entire season, and it's not a season-ending injury, and we'll evaluate how we do things moving forward. Easy. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. Let people like me and you, Kendall, go out here and say the obvious of like, you can't love the basketball tournament one year and then be like, yeah, like, why are we doing this the next year, right? Like, injuries happen, right? It could literally happen in any scenario. So I think this comment here kind of brings it up. Like, if you're afraid, and I think Shane actually made a really good point yesterday, you can't bubble wrap these guys for the next 5 months. That is just not how it works, right? You can't unbubble wrap them by September 5th and then get them ready to go for games. It's not going to happen. It's no different than when a guy gets hurt during summer workouts or during the preseason, right? Are we going to stop doing preseason workouts or fall camp if a guy gets hurt? No, you're going to continue to do it. So why shouldn't the same remain for some team building activities, which the guys love? Like I'm referencing a lot of what Shane said, but those guys love doing these team building exercises, like going bowling and doing the basketball and the wiffle ball. Like, it's going to help bring the team together. It's unfortunate the injury happened, right? And it's not ideal that it happened to some big name guy. But I bet you right now the discussion would be a lot different if it were anyone else on this roster. It would not be as big of a deal, I don't think, and made out to be that South Carolina needs to cancel this basketball tournament, X, Y, and Z, and there's all this overreaction over it. So I know that's a long little spiel, but it's true, right? I think it's kind of gotten everyone a bit up in arms and feeling one way or the other. But I think the fact that he's not going to be out for the year is a really good sign. And to answer this question here, like who starts in Peak spot, I mean, we may not even have to worry about that. It may just be like, okay, he's going to miss the spring. He may miss part of fall camp. But if he's ready to go for the season, like he's going to start. So I don't think we need to jump to conclusions yet that like he's not going to play. Like that's just not going to happen. Like we'll see when he's back, but USC doesn't need him for those first 2 games. Like if they do need him for those first 2 games, they got bigger problems.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, obviously having him around for the first couple of games would be nice, knowing that he is a transfer and just getting him acclimated to the way that South Carolina does things in a real game setting. That would be great, but we don't know the full extent of this injury. It's not like they're coming out to us with the complete diagnosis from the doctor. We just know that he will be out until September, which is what Shane Beamer is saying. And yeah, I agree with what you're also saying, Jack. You know, you can't expect them to cancel these team building events because there's a little bit of physicality involved that could require, you know, a player to potentially risk getting injured. And that's something that is going to happen regardless of whether maybe you're playing a basketball tournament within the, you know, within South Carolina's practice facility or whether you're playing with your friends, or a lot of guys love to go golfing. Who's to say you're not going to tweak your oblique when you go out and golf? Like you could step off of a curb wrong and twist your ankle or break it. I mean, there's just so much. Like I cut my hand really bad the other day when I was making dinner. Like there's a risk that's
like lock these guys in a closet and don't let them out for the next 5 months. I just think it's just you're right, Kendall. Like you bring up these other scenarios. Like this could literally have happened anytime, anywhere. And the fact that it seems like it's a knee injury. We did not hear like that officially, but that's what the word is going around. That's a lot. There's a lot of stress on the knees for an offensive lineman too. I mean, Jacarrius Peak's a big dude, right? And we did not get to speak to him today during the newcomer media availability. Not surprised at all. Why would South Carolina let him go out there and speak about his injury and whatnot, right? But I think you really did. When it first came out, I think a lot of people, including myself, were like, oh, man, is this going to be like a season-ending injury? This is like the most Gamecock thing to like ever happen, right? Like last year, I remember I was in Arkansas and a pitcher gets hit in the head by a fly ball during BP. And it's like that's South Carolina stuff right there, right? And he misses his next start with a concussion. So stuff like this like isn't a surprise because it feels like it only happens here at South Carolina. But the fortunate part is like he's not going to miss like he'll be out for like the next few months, obviously, but it's not like he's going to be done for like he'll suit up for South Carolina, which is a good thing.
Very good thing. We certainly wish him all of the best in his recovery, and he's definitely surrounded by a great group of support staff that will be helping him throughout this process. So I think we'll leave it there on Jakarius Peak. I think that Jack is wanting to get off of his soapbox right now. I don't know, maybe not. But
no, I'm good. I'm good. You know, I just think it needed to be addressed that I think some people are definitely you can't. Beggars can't be choosers. Is that the saying? Like
you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Thank you. This is why we make a good team here. You know, we know what's going on here. Like it's unfortunate that it happened, but you can't just cancel a season and cancel all these activities because a guy gets hurt. Things happen.
The show must go on, everybody.
Exactly. So he'll be.
The show must go on. And our show continues to go on, and it continues to go on thanks to our amazing presenting sponsor, Clint Hammond.
Yes. So if you are in the market to buy a home or need help with your mortgage, any of those housing needs that can be quite complicated and you just don't know where to begin, give a call to our guy, Clint, who's been in the mortgage industry for over 20 years now. He is a long-time sponsor of Gamecock Central and everything we do here. And he is also a lifelong Gamecock fan. So you know you're in the right hands with a guy like Clint who gets the daily struggles of South Carolina athletics just like anyone. Give him a call at 803-422-6797. The NMLS number for him is 71597. Or you can go to clinthammond.com for more info. And if you're watching live, seeing us on screen right now, all that information is going to be above us right here.
The best of the best. Thank you, Clint, as always, for your support of the show. Okay, Jack, let's turn the page to some other news that recently dropped. And actually, this coordinator was introduced. And we can now welcome Matthew Smiley as the special teams coordinator for the University of South Carolina. Seems like a very nice guy based off of his introductory press conference. And you know, special teams is very important. It probably is underlooked in comparison to obviously your defensive coordinator, your offensive coordinator, but we've seen for South Carolina how important special teams can be. It's obviously been a major pillar of what Shane Beamer has tried to do at South Carolina, what his dad did at Virginia Tech. We know Beamer ball, everybody here understands. So it's important for Shane Beamer to get this hire right. And you have a guy who spent last season with Penn State, but prior to that, he spent, 8 seasons with the Buffalo Bills. So, Jack, I'm curious, what were your first impressions based on the press conference?
Yeah, no, I think even before the press conference got started, one thing that stuck out to me that I've never really seen before is before the press conference began, he came in and was like, I'm going to go around and just shake everyone's hand and just introduce myself. So he literally went to every media member, everyone in that press conference and just introduced himself. And I shook his hand and all that. Thanked him for his service because he's a veteran. And yeah, I mean, look, it's something you don't see all too often. Definitely did not have to do that. But I think stuff like that goes a long way. So he seems like a very nice guy. And he coached my favorite teams, special teams, for 3 seasons. So, yeah, he was with the Jaguars as an assistant special teams coach in like 13 to 16, I think. And then he joined the Bills in 17. He was the assistant there for a few seasons and then got promoted to be the special teams coordinator from 22 until 24. So, yeah, I think his time with the Bills – it wasn't amazing. Like I never like noticed like man, it's like he's just not doing a good job of special teams. Like you just don't think of that stuff, but it's like I thought back and I'm like, yeah, special teams really weren't that great for the Bills his last few years there, and it's like that's why they eventually moved on from him. Special teams was really good though his first year with the Bills. They were like top 5 as a collective unit on special teams, and then 23 and 24 they were kind of towards the bottom of the league. So it's obvious why the Bills had to move on from him. And I think just because he got let go by the Bills does not mean he's a bad coordinator. The guy had to be doing something right to be in the NFL for 10 years. And the other thing I'll also mention, when Shane Beamer introduced him yesterday, so many different people recommended Smiley for this job. He talked to NFL head coaches, GMs, scouts, a lot of different folks in the NFL. Heck, Patrick DeMarco, former Gamecock and played for the Bills for a handful of years. With Smiley, I think it's 17 for a year, recommended him to Shane, and that really went a long way. So the fact that there were so many recommendations for Smiley probably made this an easy decision for Beamer to hire him. Now, that wasn't going to be just the reason why he hired him, but I think the NFL experience, along with the fact that he's got some college coaching experience, especially at Penn State last year, getting reacclimated to the way the game is different from the NFL, probably went a long way. So time will tell how this move turns out. I don't know how it's going to go one way or the other. I think he's got a good group of players to work with. You got Jakarius Peak back. You got Nick Harbor on the return game. You got Mason Love at punter. Max Kelly's back for another year. You got Upton Belafant at kicker potentially, and you got a new long snapper. Like, this is a chance for him to do some really good things with this group, and we'll see if he does.
So with this press conference, he was obviously asked a number of questions. And Jack, I'm curious, like, what stood out to you about the way that he perceives special teams? Like, what do you think fans can expect from him? We've seen a lot with South Carolina and its special teams units over the years, and just how unique they can be, how they like to take risks, and this will not be a shock. So, you're expecting that if you're a South Carolina fan. But what did he say that kind of gave you an indication of how you think he will run the special teams units for South Carolina next year?
He was actually asked a question. I'm going to read the answer off directly about the mindset or mental approach a player needs to have to be successful on special teams to play for him. His answer was, quote, "I think first and foremost, every play matters. So on special teams, your ops are limited because you have less plays during the game, but then you also have plays that could be a touchback on kickoff or kickoff return that may not be an opportunity to flip the field. So when you get your chance to affect the game shows up, every play matters, and I'm always ready to make that play." So that mental toughness of the special teams players, that every time I take that field on a special teams play, this could be the play that flips the balance, that gives us a chance to win the game, but that has to be the mindset. There's no plays off. I've got to make sure that I'm ready to be my best and compete in whatever phase it is when I take the field for special teams. So that's kind of the answer to the question right there, just about what he said, and I agree. Like, every play does matter, and special teams, I don't want to say it wasn't bad over the last two years under Joe DeCamillis, but it was definitely a drop off from. And Kendall, you were here when Pete Lembo was
our star.
Yes,
Pete Lembo.
The night.
I mean, I'm sorry, but like, he just is the best, and his shoes are so big to fill.
He set the standard for like how good special teams can be. And since then, Jody did a good job, but it's like no one can ever really do what Pete did, especially combined with Shane's background as a special teams guru. So, again, we don't know how.
No one can have a better press conference.
Pete,
nobody. Like,
Pete
there's
Lembo,
it doesn't matter. Like, it does not matter. Pete Lembo press conferences were
They were always entertaining. I love a good Pete Lembo press conference. The guy is a history book inside and out, and just can tell you random things about different wars and everything. So he is a good press conference for sure. And I miss that about Pete here at South Carolina. What I will say, though, is he set the bar so high for good special teams here that it's always tough to live up to him. But I will say this mentality here that Smiley has about just how important special teams is, because he's right. Every play is important. And it could be something as simple as making a tackle on punt return and pinning an opponent back at the 10-yard line with like a minute to go in the game. Like stuff like that matters, right? So every play matters, and especially for special teams. So I'm excited to see how he does with this unit and just what in particular he emphasizes about the every play matters stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's so important, right? Because, in watching football, a lot of the times you watch special teams and it's just kind of like, it feels like rinse and repeat. It's just like, okay, like, it is what it is. It's not really going to affect the game. And we've seen with South Carolina ways that it definitely can affect the game. I think the biggest thing for Smiley, and I think he's obviously willing to do this because he interviewed with Shane Beamer. And if you're not willing to do this under Shane Beamer, then that's a problem. You're willing to take risks. And we've seen South Carolina do it. We've seen those risks pay off. We've seen those risks maybe not pay off, but that's just kind of part of what South Carolina does under Shane Beamer with special teams. So I'll be curious to see what he comes up with, because that's the other difficult part about it. South Carolina has shown their hand a little bit over these last few years in terms of some of the things that they've come up with. And now more teams obviously expect that from South Carolina. When you're taking on a team like the Gamecocks, to be ready, because they might throw something at you on special teams, and you got to be in it to win it. You got to be ready to go. So I'm curious how Smiley will kind of come up with some creative ways. And, not everything's going to be a brand new trick, right? There's a reason why you do things and why they work and why you do them over and over. But come up with some creative ways to utilize special teams for South Carolina's benefit and not just have it be that rinse and repeat. So I'm interested to see how he does that, because South Carolina, people know what they're getting into when they play the Gamecocks. You've got to be a little bit thoughtful with the process.
Yeah, no, totally. And this hire does come at a unique time, because it's like, I don't think Shane Beamer was really expecting to lose a special teams coordinator this late in the cycle, though he did have like about a week and a half, 2-week heads up that this may end up happening with Joe D. And look, it's an opportunity to go back to the NFL for Joe D. He's going to be the special teams coordinator for the Vegas Raiders. Like, that's a great opportunity to get back into the NFL after a few years at the college level. And you hire a guy that is available, right? And maybe, I don't know if it would have been South Carolina's first choice in a normal cycle, but it's their choice. And he got such great recommendations that you just feel good about it. We'll see how this goes, but I think in terms of how the press conference went, I think it was all the right things being said. Now it's just about, okay, like, how is this going to go when the season begins? And maybe a special teams coordinator isn't as big of a deal as like a defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator. But as we've learned over the years, like since Lembo has not been here, you don't know that you have a great special teams coordinator until he's not here. And Jody was a good one for sure, maybe a great one. But obviously, you're following the footsteps of a guy that was just really, really good. So we'll see what Smiley brings to the table.
I love that last name too, Smiley. Like, I feel like we can make some like good references. Like, you're making me smiley with that play that you just called, like something along those lines. I don't know. That's just me being corny. We're talking about new faces in the South Carolina football program, and you had the chance to actually speak to some of them earlier. And I'm curious how that went, Jack. Like, this is interesting. So it's not like a typical press conference where they come up to the podium and they're asked questions and they talk. This is kind of like South Carolina's internal team media day. So not SEC media day, but they'll have a day in August typically where they set the players up at tables. And the media just kind of has like free reign to go wherever they want to go and go talk to this player over here and this player over here. So that's what you got to do earlier today, Jack, with some of these new guys, with the exception of Peak. So who'd you talk to? Who stood out? What'd you think of getting to talk to some of these guys that are fresh to the program?
So, yeah, like you said, Kendall, it was supposed to be all of the newcomers. It did not end up being like that. South Carolina does a nice job of putting this event on, but yeah, it was a little unfortunate that we didn't get to talk to any of the new receivers that are on the team. There were probably I'm looking at this list here of guys. There were probably I want to say half of these guys I did not see out there. I don't know what the reason was, but Jacarrius Peak was obviously one of them we did not get to speak to because he wasn't out there. However, still I think me, Wes, and one of our interns, Mingo, made a real good, made the most of a situation to get as many people as we could talk to. So I talked to Hank Purvis, Dane Arnett, both offensive linemen joining the program. You got Kelby and Drew Collins, the brothers that are joining the team on the defensive line. Caleb Herring, transfer from Tennessee, and the long snapper commitment from Western Carolina, Emmett Rhodes. So talked to about 6 guys today, and I think for the most part, I was very intrigued talking to a lot of them. I mean, we're going to likely have some of these interviews posted on Gamecock Central. The biggest issue over the years, Kendall, is the audio, because you're in that cafeteria there at the facility. And when you're talking to these guys and a lot of other people are talking, it can be very hard to hear. And I think we've gotten some complaints from over the years that when you listen, you can't really hear what these guys are saying. So we'll figure that out if we're going to post those videos or not, because it does sound like it might be a little tough to hear at times. But I was impressed, right? These guys are very good talkers, and now we got to see how they do it on the field. Adam asks, out of the guys I saw today, who makes the biggest impact? The name that continuously got brought up was Drew Collins, the transfer from Arkansas State. And I even had a chance to talk to Drew for maybe like 10 minutes today about getting to play with his brother, what he expects at South Carolina. It seems that he's grown a lot over the years. Apparently, he was dealing with some maturity issues when he came into college, but now it's like he knows what to expect. He's an older guy. He's got 3 years of eligibility left. So there's a lot of excitement about him and what he's going to bring to the table. So I would say he'd be the guy. And I know Wes and Mingo talked to some other guys too. So again, we didn't get to talk to Lucian Anderson, the quarterback commit. He was not there. That I saw the receivers, some of the specialists, like some of the DBs. There were probably half the guys there, like I said. So we didn't get to talk to everybody, but we have all of spring to talk to some of those guys, hopefully. And then we also have the team media day in August down the road, like you mentioned, Kendall. So very productive.
You don't have to wait until August.
What's up?
Hopefully you do not have to wait until August to talk to some of those guys.
I mean, Peak's probably the big one that I think a lot of people.
That'll.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to be talking to him anytime soon from the media, to be honest with all of you.
Yeah, I was not surprised that we didn't get a chance to talk to him today. He was not out there. Again, we heard from Shane yesterday mentioning the injury and whatnot and what happened. And even when we asked some of these, I think I asked Hank Purvis a question like, how do you guys move forward without Peak for these next few months? And what was kind of your reaction to all of it? And it was just a very, PR-y type of answer. Like, I think these guys are probably told beforehand, like, hey, like, you're going to probably be asked about Peak. Like, just say this and you'll be good. Like, he's a good teammate, a good guy, and we'll be okay. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Always something, right?
I still can't really wrap my head around the fact that he's out right now with this injury. Like, it really is the most South Carolina thing to happen, that this guy will get hurt in a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. But
yeah,
as you said before, Kendall, injuries happen, and they can happen in the most random of ways. And I'm sure this will not be the last time in any sport that this will happen.
Yeah. Well, again, we're wishing him all the best and a very speedy recovery. And Jack, as we continue with our show, we give a big thank you to our sponsor at Ferry Chevrolet for allowing us to do the show.
Yeah, if you're a Gamecock fan who is interested in a new or even a used vehicle, make sure you check out our friends over at Ferry Chevrolet, located in Orangeburg, South Carolina. They are led by a fourth-generation dealer in Joseph Ferry. It's a family-owned business over at Ferry Chevrolet that has been serving the community for 100 years now, since 1926. Conveniently located just off of I-26 between Columbia and Charleston, the folks over at Ferry Chevrolet are local, trustworthy, and always transparent. Business began in St. Matthews and was built on honesty, integrity, and a handshake, and they still operate with those same principles to this day. So head on over to ferrychevrolet.com today, check out their inventory, and get in touch.
We appreciate our friends at Ferry Chevrolet, as always. Jack, quick baseball update while we're at it. Your thoughts on everything?
With what? The Gamecocks or my Yankees?
Oh, no. Not MLB yet. We're not getting into that yet. It's still spring training, which, by the way, next week I will be in Arizona at spring training where the Yankees do their spring training, but I'm very excited about that. So baseball's like officially starting.
Yeah.
And don't forget, everybody, that the Gamecocks are playing right here behind me at Truist Field against UNC on March 24th.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. Quick
so
baseball.
Jack and I will see each other or one time a year, sometimes twice.
Yes.
We usually see each other for like one practice for football and then.
Totally. Yeah. Baseball update. Yeah, since this is basically about football, the show. Yeah, Clemson series come up this weekend. USC's got a game tonight, taking on Queens, 6:30 p.m. first pitch. So I'll be at the ballpark here in a couple of hours, getting ready for that. Look, this past weekend against the service academies, it was mixed bag. I think it wasn't great. You lost to Army and played a pretty rough game, and then the next 2 days you bounced back. You played a real nice game against Navy on Saturday, shut them out 8-0. Got a real nice pitching performance from Aunt Phillips. And then on Sunday, look, it was freezing outside. The weather on Friday was great. It was like 80 degrees and sunny. And then on Sunday night, it was in the 40s, and I wanted to go home. It was absolutely freezing. But I can say, look, they won 2 out of 3. It was a good challenge for this team playing you got more out of playing the service academies than you would have otherwise with a random opponent that you never heard of before, right? So I think it was good from that standpoint. You're expected to win tonight, no problem, hopefully. And then the Clemson series coming up, which Kendall, I've been reading a lot of comments from different folks, different fans and whatnot about how they're feeling about the team right now. And it does seem like a lot of their hope is really hinging on this weekend. Like, if people aren't checked out yet, which there are a lot of them that are already checked out, if Carolina doesn't win the series this weekend, I think we're going to see a lot more folks really done with this team, even though we're 8 games into the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a stressful weekend for sure. I don't know. I can't claim to know too much about Clemson baseball this year, and
they're good.
Ins and outs of their team. Yeah, they're good.
Top 15, undefeated right now. But the series does start in Columbia. It'll be Friday at home, Saturday in Segra Park in Columbia, and then Sunday at Clemson. Who would you start Friday? Riley Goodman's starting the last 2 Fridays. And we'll get more into baseball tomorrow on GC Live with myself and Ethan Carter. But I would probably go ahead and start Aunt Phillips. I think he gives you the best chance to win right now. And, I mean, look, you need to win the first game of the series to realistically have a chance. I just don't like this team's odds if they're down 1-0 in this series. And it's like, you got to win the next 2 games to win a series. That's a tall order. And even if South Carolina looks competitive this weekend, and let's say they win a game and that's it, that's not going to be enough. It's not enough for people. And I understand, like, you don't want to get swept by these guys. You don't want to lose a series to Clemson. But I think a lot of people are holding last year against this team, which I think is unfair because Paul Maneri's back, sure, but this is a brand new roster. And who knows? I mean, SEC play, I think, is far more important than a random 3-game series in February. That's just my opinion.
It definitely is. And obviously it's a little bit later on in the season. So South Carolina will have had a little bit more time to get acclimated. However, I can understand that if this weekend doesn't go well, the fear factor really starting to kick in because you're not playing a ton of teams that are not good, for lack of a better term. You know, it's SEC baseball. So it's just going to continue to be difficult for South Carolina. And I feel like a broken record when I say it, whether I'm talking about basketball, whether I'm talking about football, whether I'm talking about baseball. It's the SEC. So it's going to be tough. But yeah, you cannot get swept this weekend if you're South Carolina. That is just not in the cards. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect, honestly, with this team anymore. I've just kind of given up. And not even like with them. It's just kind of in general, like, you know, with some of the sports that we've seen as like, you know, men's basketball and baseball and even football. Football's a little different. Like I definitely have different expectations there, but just kind of what we've seen over the last few years. And again, it's not fair to compare this baseball team to last year. It's just not fair because it's just such a different roster. But I understand the exhaustion of fans, you know, especially in baseball, because South Carolina has been very good. They've been national champions. And when you're not meeting that level, you're not even meeting a level to be pretty competitive in the SEC last season. I understand how fans can have kind of a sour taste in their mouths heading into this year. So hopefully South Carolina is able to make it right and kind of get their feet under them, get going. They've had a couple losses so far that haven't looked so great, but baseball is interesting. Clemson might be the better team on paper, but we talk about this all the time. It can come down to a pitching matchup in a night. And if one guy's throwing heat, you know, if South Carolina's guy's throwing heat and Clemson's guy is struggling a little bit and the hitters are able to capitalize, then that's it. And that can be it. And that's why we've seen teams that maybe aren't the better team in baseball have more of a chance to win in those scenarios.
I've just found it's kind of crazy, Kendall, because it's like there's a lot of folks that are like, Yeah, I'm not really sure about this team yet because the Clemson series hasn't happened yet. Meanwhile, you also have a lot of other people that are like, yeah, Carolina's getting swept this weekend. Like, and I think that's a little disappointing to just see so many fans. I get it. You're frustrated with how last year went. The apathy from last year is still dragging into this year. I understand that. I do.
I think it's been years. Like, I mean, last year was really bad, but I think it's just like years of apathy that's kind of built to this indifference in a certain way. Yeah. And again, whether that's fair or not, I don't necessarily think it's fair to the new group of guys.
It's not.
But when you were held to an expectation of excellence, and then you've just seen that decline over the years, and you've seen the team not put out as great of a performance from a whole season standpoint, you know, it's tough.
It is. It's very tough.
Give him a chance, everybody.
That's what I'm saying.
Give him a chance. Let him try.
It's going to be very interesting to see what happens this weekend, though. I'm not going to make a prediction right now. I don't think that's a
Jack has to sleep on it.
I don't know.
One game. That's my prediction. I'll just throw it out there because I'm not going to be talking on GC for the rest of the week. Yeah. This is my last appearance in the series.
They should win at least one game. I think they got to take Friday for sure. I don't know. We'll see. I could see them getting swept. I could see them winning a game. I could see them winning the series potentially. I mean, there's a lot
in the series. Who knows?
I will say this, though. I will be very interested to see if South Carolina does win this series, how does the fan base change their tune? Because it seems like a lot of them are like, I'm waiting to see what happens with Clemson before I get bought in. You know, if they beat Clemson in a series, that's going to be huge. And you're still going to have people that don't want to see this team do well, and they want Palmineri fired and whatnot. But I think this team – I think they're going to prove some people wrong this weekend, which I fully look forward to when the day does come because
I like it.
I want to see this team do well, and I think a lot of folks out there do as well. So
yes, don't be fair weathered fans. Although I do not think South Carolina fans are fair weathered fans at all. Actually, I think they're quite the opposite.
No, they're diehard. They're just
we have a loyal fan base.
Yeah, it's just different.
Very loyal, and they've gone through a lot. So I understand being jaded in a sense. And you and I are young. You know, we're only 25, so we haven't experienced some of the things that some of our fans have gone through that, you know, maybe have a little more age on us. So
yeah,
to that point, guys, just hang in there. It's going to be okay. Hopefully South Carolina comes out this weekend, play some good baseball, and everything's going to be all good. We got it. And Jack's going to have it covered for you. So you got to head over to GamecockCentral.com.
I'm only 25. I'm 30. Like, oh my God. We've had this discussion before.
We have, because I asked how old people thought I was, and I was getting like 27, 28. Jack and I are like a month apart.
Yeah.
Jack was born in July.
July 4th. So
4th. Yeah, you and my brother have the same birthday.
Yeah.
So he's a 4th of July baby. So that's when you will turn 26 this summer. Right. And then I was born on August 15th, 2000. So about a month and 11 days after Jack.
Yes. Real quick before we do get out of here. And I don't really care if you don't like hearing about it. This is our show. How about the Olympics? We can't go the show without talking about the Olympics.
Most medals ever. Most gold medals ever, I should say. So shout out most gold medals ever in a Winter Olympics. And I was blessed enough to be there for part of the Olympics. I'm sad it's over, but I am so excited for the Summer Olympics. Of course, I prefer the Winter Olympics because I work in hockey. I was a figure skater. Everybody knows the whole 411 on that. But I am excited for the Olympics to be here in the United States in 2028 in Los Angeles, California. It's going to be amazing. But yes, most gold medals ever. Like, come on. Like, Team USA, so proud of you. Nice work, everybody.
We were texting on Sunday morning watching that game. And let me just say, Kendall was getting she was getting a bit fired up. Like, I have not seen it like this. Like, it was so funny.
The whole Olympics. I don't know why, but like, I've always been very invested in the Olympics since I was young. Like, it's just always been something my parents had us watching. We were always into it. I remember a lot of the big Olympics moments over the years. But this Olympics, like, and I think maybe it's because I was there, but like I was just constantly stressed. Like I swear my hair was graying from the women's game. I was really stressed in the gold medal game. Men's game, obviously really stressed there too. The only thing I never felt stressed about was Alyssa Liu skating, and she's incredible. Just like the breath of fresh air that she is, and like how talented, like she loves skating. And I thought that was the best thing. She skates on her own terms. She does her own thing. It's like watching her skate. I think that's the only time I wasn't like super tensed up. And she won a gold medal. So we won gold in what? Like speed skating.
I want to say they got what, 12 gold medals? Is that?
Yeah, I think it was 12. I was a little bummed about curling. I thought for women's curling we were gonna snag a medal. But we ended up fourth, but that's okay. And the curling championships are this week in Charlotte. So I'm like, maybe I should go.
I remember you mentioning that. That is funny. But men's hockey, though. I mean, that game on Sunday was, I mean, I've talked to people that watched the 80 game, and obviously you and I were not alive for that. But I think this is our generation's, not miracle necessarily, because this is not a miracle team. Let's not get that twisted. But from the standpoint of like, yeah, the U.S. hasn't won gold in 46 years. It was huge. It was absolutely awesome watching that goal going by Jack Hughes. Although watching it live, it's like, I didn't see where the puck
I didn't realize it went in until about 2 seconds after.
Like,
to be honest with you, I was just sitting there watching it, and I'm like, and then I realized it went in, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
I was freaking it. It was
unreal goal. Obviously, Connor Hellebuck played amazing. It was such a good game. And yeah, I was there at the Olympics, not at that game, and not at the women's gold medal game, and not at the
It was like
all the things that I just talked about. I was not at those events, but I was able to go the first week of the Olympics and spent some time in Milan, spent some time in Livigno, which is up where they were doing the skiing, the snowboarding. I saw big air snowboarding, which was like so cool. Like I wish I could do that.
Sick.
Coolest thing.
Oh, sick.
But yeah, I'm sad they're over. I always get really sad. I actually cried when Mike Tirico like signed off on Sunday. I'm like, wait, no, I don't want the Olympics to be over. And do you guys know Tina the ferret? You know, the stuffed animal.
Oh, the one that they had. Oh my.
Yeah, they gave, the medalist Tina.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, her name is Tina because of Cortina. And then Milo is the other ferret, and he's the Paralympics mascot, and he is Milo after Milan. So Milo and Tina.
I'm looking this up.
Tina and Milo are the stars of the Olympics. So I'm just really sad to see them. Well, obviously the Paralympics are about to start, so that's really awesome too. So we'll get to see more Milo, but Tina's on her way out. Tina is.
I was so confused on why they were handing these Olympians. Like, it was so funny watching Canada in the men's and women's hockey. Like, why the heck are they being given a stuffed animal? Like some of the reactions, like, what am I supposed to do with this? It was
Tina and Milo are so popular, the stuffed animals, that like when you were in Milan, if you went to the team, like official store for the Olympics, they have been sold out of Tina and Milo for weeks. Like, what? People bought them, I think, back in like January before the Olympics even started. Like, to get Tina or Milo is a huge deal. So when the athletes were getting them, there were so many patrons or like people that were watching the Olympics that want that. It's like actually very sought after.
I didn't even know this.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. What? That's crazy. All right. That's the stuff that matters here on GC Live, is hearing the important facts that you would not get anywhere else. And that's why we have the best show. So.
Yeah, Tina and Milo I got a Tina and Milo snow globe. So that was good. I was able to bring that home with me, but I wanted the stuffed animals. But they have a special Jellycat collection for the Olympics, and I got a curling stone. That's a Jellycat.
Awesome.
So anyways, with all of that said, I just want to say congratulations to all of our Team USA medal winners, crushing it, bringing home the most gold medals we've ever had in the Winter Olympics. It was so fun to watch in person, at home. Loved every second of it. You guys are awesome. You gals are awesome. And you brought us just so much happiness, I think, for all of us, and we're just really proud of you. So can't wait for the Summer Olympics, LA 2028, right here in the US of A. But everybody, that's going to do it. We're getting up on an hour here. So we'll be back next week to talk a lot more stuff. And I'm sure we'll have comments, reactions, and concerns from South Carolina's series. I don't want to say concerns, comments, reactions, and thoughts from South Carolina.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Glass half full from their series against Clemson. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching. For Jack Veltri, I'm Kendall Smith. This has been GC Live here on Gamecock Central, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.